Is it okay if I go with the intangible rather than the tangible? Like, if we're going to say the tangible, we could say, okay, Walter Nolan is a better man than any of us realized. Yeah, you watch him going against a tackle on the offensive line where he just gives like a two-hand shove, and the guy goes, "Oh, okay." I'm going to go intangible though. We learned something about the mindset of this Ole Miss team with some of the quotes that came out of the post-game press conferences and from some of the people who were in the locker room and kind of conveyed what the mood was like in the locker room post-game. Ole Miss went on the road to an ACC school and won by 5 touchdowns and didn't play particularly well. And while there was satisfaction that they won, there was some frustration in that locker room. There was some disappointment that they didn't play to, they believe, the standard that they're capable of. Trey Harris said in his post-game interview that it was a kind of a quiet 148 yards or 140 yards or whatever it was that he had receiving in that game. In his interview with Brett Norsworthy after the game, he just, he's like, they were giving us the hitch. We threw the hitch a lot, some yards after catch. So yeah, it was kind of a quiet night. There was some similar sentiment to like the overall yardage. I mean, Ole Miss goes for over 600 yards in the game. It was like, it's just kind of a ho-hum night offensively. There is apparently a very high level of expectation internally for this football team. We know what the external expectations are. We've talked about those. We've heard about them from you. You see them on message boards. You see them online. But it's a little harder sometimes to gauge what like the internal mindset of a team is. And I think we learned something about what this Ole Miss team expects from itself following a decisive win, what Dave Clawson called an ASS kicking for 3.5 hours.
How many Ole Miss teams of the past would have been beyond thrilled with what happened on Saturday? Beyond thrilled. I mean, just through the roof.
Yeah. It would have been a jubilant post-game locker room. I've been in those.
Instead, your quarterback's like, we were all kind of disappointed.
I don't think they were upset. I think they were glad to get the win. But, yeah, they were kind of disappointed in the way they played.
For me, for Ole Miss, Jackson Dart is doing the things that you have to do to when we get to week 8 and week 9 to be on those Heisman hot lists. When you play an easy start to the schedule, you got to pile up big numbers. And obviously it didn't end the way you wanted to, but this is sort of similar to 2014 with Dak Prescott. The first 3 games, he put up huge numbers. And then you win a couple of big games, and Ole Miss has an opportunity to do that when they get the LSU, Oklahoma back-to-back. And all of a sudden you're right there. The difference for me is that I think this Ole Miss team is going to finish stronger than that state team did. So he's putting together the resume that gets you to New York in these early games.
I don't know that we've seen kind of the Heisman field really start to develop yet. I mean, there are names that are out there, but
you're still your preseason lists.
Is there going to be a quarterback that throws for 40 touchdowns? I don't know. I mean, right now, Jackson Dart is on pace to throw 32 touchdowns in the regular season. He's got 8 through 3 games.
And run for what, 9 or 10?
Yeah, he's got 3 in 3 games so far. I mean, so if he were to throw for 32 and run for 10 more, okay, yeah, maybe you're in the neighborhood. And have 4,500 yards passing. Maybe so. Long way to go on that. And you get moments, you get opportunities. Do you take advantage of those moments? Do you have moments where everybody's talking about you? Well, maybe so. There certainly are going to be chances. And that's the thing about, okay, the schedule with the way it's played out, almost has to wait, but it's going to get its opportunity.